Good morning, it's Dispeller. Hope everybody's doing well today. We're doing this book. It is How to Heal a Broken Heart in 30 Days, a day-by-day guide to saying goodbye and getting on with your life, which I've been doing for a while now. But if you need help, this is a good book to read or to listen to. I'm actually saving you the trouble by reading it for you and to you. I will be doing a little bit of comments in between here and there, maybe, as they are warranted, and I welcome you to also join in and comment as you wish. And as always, before I go on, please hit the like button, the share button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so that you don't miss any future uploads when I upload them. All right, I invite you to take a look at the other playlists and the other parts of my channel as well to see what I have to offer. I won't get into detail here because we're going to stay focused on this little book here. So let us continue on with day 17. And I welcome you to comment if you will, when you come in here, if you like. If you don't, that's fine. We can have a question and answer discussion time at the end if you like, whatever. Ghost flusters. The capacity for hopefulness is part of the ability to accept change. Hope accepts that it's possible for passions to die or transmute over time. Hopefulness sees that though yesterday's dreams fell outside of the truth of today, tomorrow's adventures still beckon. Hindsight helps us accept that people change and that's just the way of the world. Now that you no longer have a hurtful love in your life, your hopes will help you to complete your breakup. Hopeless people tend to let go of contact with ex friends, ex lovers, ex partners long before they let go of even hurtful memories of that lover's presence. The true unfortunates cling to fading ghosts of their lovers or friends for the rest of their lives. Think of yourself and your own ex. Is it as if he or she is still here, talking to you, reacting to your thoughts, in effect, still controlling you? Don't let this go on. Make it stop. Why keep haunting memories in your life? No one forces you to do this. Now is the time to let these memories go and to look forward with hope. Hopefulness is useful for preparing your future in that it helps you realize or release any ghostly, ghastly residue of that individual from influencing your life in any way. It's time to accept that you are in the throes of change. Stop punishing yourself. Stop wasting time bathing in the dirty water of anger or depression. Anger sent inward is destructive. It paralyzes growth. And anger and frustration addressed to a loved lost is meaningless, since the object of your anger doesn't hear you and doesn't care. Although the object of my anger does hear me and does care because they can't stop lashing out. However, in most cases, the object of your anger is a real life person, not an internet person or people. And you can be done with them if you're done with them. It's a lot different online. Letting go of a relationship that no longer exists for you can become a great blessing. It's like watching a movie through to its ending. It may have been a good movie, it may have been awful, but when it's over and the lights go up, you know quite clearly that it's time to stand up and move on. Ooh, I like that analogy, like sitting down in a movie theater. If you've been to a movie theater, and I've been to them many times, that's exactly what happens. You watch a movie, and whether it was a good movie, a bad movie, it made you cry, laugh, angry, you get up when the lights come on and you go home. And maybe you forget about the movie, maybe you have memories, but eventually you forget about it because you go and see another one. Letting go of a relationship that Wait a second. I'm sorry. Loss often forces people to address issues in their lives that they had postponed examining for as long as they could. So, loss can present you with an unavoidable opportunity for self transformation, to stop sleeping in your movie seat and embrace this new opportunity to grow. Sharing in the right relationship can be a peaceful joy, but enjoying those times you spend on your own can also lead to a real serenity. The challenge is not to become dependent on others to fill every moment. You don't need to mislabel solitude as loneliness. Don't sacrifice the things you can enjoy, like yourself. Welcome, everybody that's here and that will be here in the future. In our culture, real love coupled with real passion, good morning, Evelyn, is not supposed to be a holdback affair. That's part of what makes it so confusing when a committed relationship ends. But when it does, you have to ask yourself if you are truly and deeply committed with all your heart and soul. A relationship needs a pragmatic, rational side, but if it doesn't possess a deep and abiding passion, you'll never really experience all that it can yield. Maybe you and your ex did have such powerful feelings at one time. It's one of life's great disappointments when the flame goes out in your last act together and the lights go up in the theater. If you use hindsight on your relationship, you'll see that there were times when you hit a crossroads of either committing more deeply or holding back. Nope. And eventually, if you held back or if your partner held back, that may have been the moment the relationship faltered. No, I set boundaries. That's why my relationship faltered, and it should have faltered a long time ago. And perhaps the mistake you made at the time was in not picking up the cue that it was time to let go. Yeah, I did make that mistake. Good morning, spoofer. But perhaps you were afraid. People often settle for less because they fear being alone. And if you ignored bad news just for fear of being alone, how could you then have expected to enjoy a real commitment from yourself or from your significant other? I don't think I ignored the bad news. I excused the bad news. I think there's a difference between forgiveness and excusing. That's what I'm finding out. You can forgive somebody, but that doesn't mean you're okay with the behavior. It doesn't mean that you accept it. It doesn't mean you keep going back for more. Lesson learned. But perhaps, wait a second. I keep reading the same thing. Hold on a second. Real love accepts both self and one's friend. Hope opens doors, while friendship evokes commitment, engagement. Let's see. This is talking about love relationships like boyfriend, girlfriend. So I'm trying to change it so that it means friend because it actually has to do with friendship as well. So hope opened doors, while friendship evokes, I would say, connection. If it fails to, it may have been a different, lesser kind of love. Let the truth embrace you and don't be wounded by it. It's just trying to show you where you are. Show that you are truly growing by listening to the truths that speak to your heart. Learn to look forward to the joyous news that the future and your foresight will bring. Oh, I know you are, Spoof. Good for you. Have fun. I know you will. You always have fun when you're with your hubby. As soon as you can again, look hopefully into your future because you are ready to be free. You'll then be able to move on. You may even decide to direct your life into creating a whole series of new movies. If so, make your next one your best ever. And don't get stuck hanging out in your lobby, hopelessly waiting for intermission to end. I like their comparison of a movie theater. I think that was a good one. Okay, the meaning of suffering. While your recent loss caused you to feel pain, your suffering presents you with a chance to grow. Does that statement make you feel like you're tired of hearing people say, every cloud has a silver lining? Hi, baby, here's my silver lining. Hi, my man. Beautiful guy. If so, then imagine suffering a Holocaust. See yourself helplessly witnessing the deliberate destruction of all that you cherish. Imagine being thrown into the Nazi death camps and struggling to survive while those you love are taken elsewhere to be killed. Imagine then struggling against all odds simply to survive. Out of such an unimaginable horror came a great book, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. In this work, Frankl combines the insights of a gifted psychiatrist with the inspired observations of a wise philosopher. This survivor of Auschwitz is known as the developer of logotherapy, a system to psychic healing that stresses the primary importance of meaning in human life. Essentially, Frankl teaches that life challenges us to discover the meaning of our unique existences. The meaning of one's life changes with time, but must always be sought. We are responsible for answering our life's meaning. Meaning, Frankl says, derives from three things: from accomplishing a task, from experiencing a value such as truth, beauty, goodness, or love, and from suffering. Happily, unlike Freud, Frankel does not regard falling in love as a side effect of one's drive, intimacy drive, but as something equally primary or perhaps even more basic. The meaning of suffering. Frankel tells the story of a doctor who came to see Frankel for relief from the suffering caused by his wife's death. Instead of offering useless condolences, Frankel reframed the situation by asking the doctor what would have happened if the doctor had died and his wife had survived. The doctor replied that this would have been terrible, that his wife would have suffered just as he had. Frankel replied that the way things actually worked out had spared the doctor's wife such pain, but with the price that the doctor now had to survive and mourn her. Frankel says that this answer, that suffering, ceases to be suffering at the moment that it finds a meaning, and that satisfied the man. Frankel had helped the doctor to discover the meaning of his suffering, sacrifice. As soon as the doctor had endowed his suffering with meaning, it changed his attitude toward his fate. Frankel stresses that our main purpose in life is not to gain pleasure or avoid pain, but to discover the fundamental meanings behind the things we experience. While suffering isn't necessary to find meaning, meaning is still discoverable whether we suffer or not. Unnecessary suffering should be avoided, of course, but suffering itself should not cause anyone to feel shame when it proves impossible to avoid. Okay. Discovering meaning. This is the last part of this. Then we can talk. As you experience the pain of your loss of a lover or friend, use it to empower your own voyage of discovery. What was the real meaning of your relationship, of its end, and of your responsibility for the suffering you now experience? Let's talk about that. So think about this. What was the real meaning of your relationship? The real meaning of my relationship. Well, I thought it was just to have fun, to meet new people, to have time to chat, to just be goofy. I don't know that it really had meaning. I think I was trying to be helpful, supportive, encouraging as much as I could be. So let's see what else it asks me. Its end. What was the real meaning of its end? The real meaning of its end was breaking free from narcissistic abuse and control, from being able to be my own person and do things I want to do on my own without being bossed around and directed. Having friendships back that I lost because of the relationship. Moving on, really just being myself and not worrying about what was going on with the relationship. I don't know. What was the meaning of its end? Really just not being controlled anymore would be the meaning of its end. Let's see. Hang on. And of my responsibility for the suffering I now experience. Not really suffering. I guess the suffering I did experience, the meaning behind it was don't make the same mistake and rekindle and do the same thing over and over again for another year. That was basically the meaning of the end of it. Move on, find new people to hang out with, seek positivity, encouragement, esteem, whatever. Focus on real life things like my job, my husband, my marriage, my cats, my house. I guess that would be the meaning of the end, is just time to focus on what matters more. All right. If these meanings are not immediately clear, try asking the questions in a different way. If your relationship had not ended, what would that mean? It would mean I would be submitting myself to things I definitely am against and keeping my mouth shut about it instead of speaking out and saying, no, I'm not doing this. No, that's not appropriate for a godly person to act that way. It's not appropriate for somebody to participate and even sit around while that's going on in front of them. God says whatsoever things are good, pure, honest, praiseworthy, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, etc., think on these things. And what was going on in that relationship was not honest, pure, good, praiseworthy, virtuous, or anything of the sort. And when it was confronted, it was not changed. So I did what I had to do, which was say I can't be part of that. And that was when the other party decided, I'm not your friend anymore. I don't look up to you. I'm done. And that was when I said, yep, me too. And that should have been the end of it. But as we all know, that's not how things work sometimes. So, okay. What values did you experience in the relationship that you now miss the most? Maybe the humor. I guess it was sometimes funny and appropriately funny, not vile or vulgar. I miss the humor a little bit. I guess that's really it. Was I got to laugh a lot, and it was fun because it was kind of like playing off the other person back and forth, and people enjoyed that. It was entertaining. Maybe that's what I miss, was the entertainment value. What values did you miss in your relationship that led to its end? What values did you miss that led to its end? I don't understand what that means, so I'm going to skip that question. What positive values can you now list that will result from the end of the relationship? Like I said, freedom, the right to do what I want to do, make my own choices, set boundaries. A new direction for my channel would be great too. New friendships, old friendships coming back when they realize that there isn't a situation that they need to be avoiding because it's uncomfortable for them. Let's see. For example, will your situation force you to become more self-reliant, a better cook, or just a more self-responsible and autonomous person? Yeah, I think it will force me to make some really tough decisions, which I've already started making. It means losing friends. It means setting boundaries and sticking to them and being consistent, which is the one thing that in that relationship people accused me of, was I was inconsistent. I didn't make sense. I was confusing. That's because sometimes situations can bring out the worst in you. That doesn't mean it's necessarily a person's fault. It's just there's chemistry. Everybody is made of energy, and sometimes two energies do not mix. One collides with the other. If you make any of these gains, then hopefully you will see that things will be better for you, not despite your suffering, but because of it. So we're talking about suffering here, pretty much. All right, I see nobody's here, so apparently nobody really wants to talk, and that's fine. I just wanted to share that chapter. That was chapter 17, called Hopefulness. Even though it was talking about suffering, it was called Hopefulness. The next chapter is called Joy. We're going to save that for another day, but I just wanted to share that one. And I'm here to chat if you guys want to. If you don't, cool. Oh, hi, Evelyn. You're still here. It's saying 0 people. That's why I didn't know you were here. Okay, gotcha. I guess so. Yeah. You too. Have a good day. And if you ever want to talk, you know how to reach me. We'll talk to you soon, everybody. Have a great day. Be blessed. Shalom.